Hi, I'm Freddie
And I'm Chantel
from His
Hers
Marriage. Hello everyone, we're excited for another segment. It's an awesome segment that we would like to discuss with you. And Chantel, can you tell us what is the topic for this event?
Yes, well, this segment we're going to actually talk about date nights and what we call date days. Because date shouldn't just be limited to only nights, but you can actually have date days as a couple.
And most often couples, and over our years of marriage and counseling other couples, they talk about date nights. And sometimes that date night can be limited within each one's marriage. But Chantel, can we explain in more detail what we talk about date nights and date days?
Yes, well, basically with date nights or date days, as we label it, it should be a time for you and your spouse to get together and have that one-on-one connection. And that can be at night as well as during the day.
And Chantel, I'm so happy that you was able to articulate what it means from the difference between a date night and a date day. So give them an example of the traditional date night.
Yes, well, traditional date night, most people go out, they get babysitters, they may go out to dinner or they go out to the movies. And so a lot of times it entails finances, it entails a lot of planning. And so a lot of couples feel as though they may not financially be able to afford that, or they can't find a babysitter. And so we actually give couples ideas of how they can have date night and date days where it doesn't cost a lot of money, and you can even have a date night at your own home. It's about just setting that time aside for you and your spouse to connect and have that intimacy.
And I know with Chantel and our first years of marriage, it was pretty rough financially, and it was very costly trying to schedule a date night, trying to get, we had with kids the first few years, and so it's hard to find someone we trust to even watch our children.
Right.
And so we started doing the math. It was like, wow, it costs more money to do this, and we're just doing something local.
Right.
And it wasn't going on any travel. So we came up with some alternatives that we had to implement within our relationship. And we're going to talk about the date night within our home, and then we're going to go out and we're going to do the other things. What are some of the things that we should do in our home?
Yes, and we actually still do. Like, just say for instance, if the kids would know, that mom and dad have some one-on-one time, so we would actually go back in our own backyard, and we have like our little patio set. We would put like a candle such as this, and we'll just bring our dinner outside, and so the kids know that's mom and dad's time, so they know not to bother us. And we'll put on some soft music. For us, we like the old school, so we'll put on a lot of nice love songs, and we'll just have that time, just Freddie and I. And so and it didn't cost us a thing. And so these are the things such as that, that you can create in your own home without even having to go out and spend any money.
And so often couples have the attending say, well, I'm familiar with my home. Create a room in your home as your getaway. We literally had a meal planned and prepared in our home, and once we had our children to serve us as if we was at a 5-star restaurant.
Right.
And so we implemented that same process within them, so when they become adults and have their own family, they say, you know what, our mother and father showed us how to have a date night in our home. So let's go to what we talk about the next one.
Yes, date days. Well, also we do want to encourage people that if you can, from time to time, it's nothing wrong with going out and and maybe spending a little. It's nothing wrong with that. We're just wanting to give couples alternatives.
That's right.
So just so you won't feel like you're just limited to having to go out and spend money. So that's why we wanted to emphasize on that. But also we have what we call date days. Now, this is something that Freddie and I, we enjoy. Every Saturday morning, we go to our local farmers market. That's like our little getaway, and it encourages us to, eat healthier. And so that's just like our time to just get away and just, have, that one-on-one and have that connection with one another. And so, you can go to, to maybe a local park or something like that and just walk and talk. And, those are really as you can call it, date days. And so you can kind of be creative with some of those things, but that's some of the things that we do.
And we have a designated scheduled time.
Yes.
Our children, our family, and our friends know this is our designated time.
Yes.
Our date days and our date nights.
Right.
We at least designate at least one day out of the week
Yes.
that will be able to benefit us from our relationship. So that's one of the things we talk about. Before we leave this segment, what are some things what we should or we could talk about on our date days and our date nights?
Well, it just depends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can talk about your children. I wouldn't say for your children to dominate the entire conversation, but they're your children, so it's nothing wrong with, you know, talking about some of the things they may have done, and, you know, and just kind of reminisce, talk about your future, talk about, you know, maybe some things that happened that week that you want to get off your heart, and you never really had that time to really talk and really connect. So, you know, it's just kind of just flowing with it, and just, you know, the main thing is just connecting and having that intimacy. And also, we want to say this too, because, you know, we've heard some people say that a measuring tool for how you've had a successful date day or date night is that it leads up to physical, you know, sex or something, but it shouldn't have to always lead to that.
Yeah.
The main purpose of a date night and date is to make that connection. Now, if it leads to that, you know what? Hey, go for it. And, you know, and that's a wonderful thing, but that should not always be the hidden agenda behind it.
And how we look at it in closing, date days and date nights are a form of developing lines of communication to articulate how you feel and your goals and your desires to each other. Because when it's all said and done, it's you and your spouse.
Yes.
We always say this: you and I against the world.
Exactly.
And so that's the time that we should be conversing and having conversations with on a daily basis with our spouse about what we desire. So. We're so excited. We're looking forward to some more segments that's scheduled to come, but we're signing off from His
Hers
Marriage. Thank you.